When we have done something against our morals or what we think is right or what we thought was right, often we can become concerned, overwhelmed with what people think about us. And one of the things that my mother shared with us, one of her life principles, is as long as people have tongues, they will talk. And so that, in an essence, as a child, I know freed me because I knew that, especially when I was experiencing some bullying acts in high school, and there were people that said things. I even wondered what people were saying about my experience in the dark wilderness, and it got to a point that I was just like, people are going to talk. I mean, that was one of the most freeing. I mean, all of my mother's principles were freeing to me, but I could resonate with that. I could understand that people are going to talk, and it is not my right to take that ability from them. And you think about freedom of speech. And you also think about one of a common Bible verse is that out of the heart flows the issues of life. Well, out of the heart, the mouth speaks. That it's not so much about you, but it's within them. Because if you don't have it within you to say, if that is something that you're not cultivating inside of your heart, you won't say it. You'll feel bad about saying it. You'll feel like that it's not right, that it's not appropriate. And so it became more of seeing that person's heart, seeing the pain that they were in, the frustration that they were in, and understanding that it wasn't about me so much as it was about them. That I did not need to take the impersonal personal, personal. That often we can spend so much time wondering what someone is saying about us. We can literally drive ourselves into anxiety attacks, panic attacks, depression, sadness, what they call inner sadness or depression, anger, resentment, guilt, frustration, blame, all of those negative emotions and feelings that we can actually start cultivating inside of us. And the last thing I think you want to hear is someone say, I never thought about you. Or you to realize as a fly on the wall that that person was dealing with their own issues, their own pain, that they didn't care about you. They are, they didn't spend a lot of time just thinking about you. And that to me, just like many of the negative emotions and feelings, those consistent emotions that we hold on to. It's 1 minute to be frustrated. We're supposed to be slow to anger, and it's 1 minute to be frustrated. One thing to be frustrated, but to actually spend time just wondering what people are saying. I mean, what else could I be doing with my mind, with my energy, with my time? And you think about often, we can go to therapists and we're telling them about, what we went through and what someone did. And just even thinking about you're sitting in a chair talking about the pain that someone did or what they're probably saying about you, and they're out having a good time. They're out not even thinking of what had happened because they probably have done so much. And you know what? The other thing that I realized is that pain is blind. That pain, just like any other thought, seeks to make itself known. It seeks to grow. It seeks to spread. It seeks acknowledgement. And it's one thing for me to seek acknowledgement of my emotions. I would feel my emotions. If I felt sad, I allow myself to feel sad. If I felt angry, I would allow myself to feel angry. It's almost like that emotion was there, But then I was here objectively looking at that emotion, acknowledging that emotion. And I believe that's how I got through, how I healed from the inside out, because I allowed this space to be between that emotion and not letting it to just really put me in its grasp, to not be a part of that storm that many of these emotions, these weeds can cause, right? That they can really rob you of your innocence and suck away and start eating that spiritual fruit and turning it into bad fruit. And that I didn't feel like it was right. And I hope that this resonates with you, that this podcast that I'm doing will resonate with you. This section about as long as people have tongues, they will talk. That it will resonate and you will understand that why should you suffer from what someone did, said, didn't do, or didn't say? Because when you look at it that way, it becomes what I talked about in this past Tuesday. If you haven't had a chance to read it, to listen to it, self punishment. Because whatever we cultivate inside of us, and this is about healing from the inside out, whatever we cultivate inside of us, we attract more of it. And it doesn't have to be someone doing the same thing, but it could be similar in that it's misuse, in that they confirm the thoughts that we are feeling about ourselves. That's what life does. It basically is a mirror of what we are holding on the inside. And our bodies have a natural way of healing, that we look to a sore or a cut. And sometimes we may not even give it enough attention, that we know that our bodies are there's going to be this system, this healing system that's going to come to that cut, this blood supply, this life force of nutrients, calcium, and platelets, and the threading of clotting material and white blood cells that come and eat up and get rid of or fight or destroy antibodies that fight and destroy those pathogens or unwelcome visitors that come inside that cut, that our skin will be made anew. We may or may not have a scar, but it will be made new through this healing system that we have. And when I look at my mother's words of wisdom, even though she retrieved many of those from painful situations or experiences, what she thought was painful, what she thought was shocking, what she had not experienced before, that they became life-sustaining principles that one could build. I built my inner and moral foundation. I use those as a fertile child with fertile soul, and our soul remains fertile throughout our lives, especially if we have strong emotions, pain, frustration, even joy and love. We have that soul is wanting more of that, thriving, and we are to nourish it. And so when it comes to people talking, people are going to say what they want to say. People are going to speak from their pain. They're going to speak from, often, sometimes, from what they don't know, what they don't understand. They may want to speak things into your life. Now that you have gone through this is who you're going to be. And it's up to us to accept or reject what they say and what they do, what they don't say, and what they don't do. That the power still resides in you to decide what you want to grow inside of you. And ultimately, you're deciding what you want to experience, what you want to bring to fruition. And that's where the power lies. That's where that life force that says, no matter what you say or what you don't say, I am still going to live my life. I did a poem on, I don't need an apology, you know, regardless, because I'm going to choose to be the best person that I can be. I actually, that poem is in a literary journal, and I wasn't even thinking about that I was going to talk about it here on Create a Generational Love Cycle today. But it definitely reminded me of that we have a right to choose what we want in our lives, what we want to grow within us, who we want to be, regardless of what someone did, whatever the experience is. And I know it can be that we can throw out that, but I don't have my leg, or I don't have my arm. And I'm not here to tell you, what to do if you have a missing piece, if something happened to you that was very traumatizing. But I do know and I do believe that in every situation, we have a choice. We can either choose to allow our experiences to be that opportunity to express the divinity within ourselves. Because I truly believe that's what we're here for. That, as you look at stories, and I mentioned this before, we always get excited about the underdog. We get excited about the person that doesn't have much, grow up poor, or have been through so much pain, setback. And we are so excited when they finally become themselves, when they finally are firm inside of this human costume. This spirit is alive and is living and is bright and is soaring. You think about the last dragon, and when he said, "Who's the master?" Sure enough, dipping him down. If you haven't seen it, the last dragon dipping him down, dipping him down. I don't want to give too much of the movie, but he comes up in a splash. And he, before that, he realized everything and what everybody was saying, all these pertinent experiences that he had. And he realizes that I am the master. I am the master of my being. And that is worth saying over and over and over again, because as I'm learning, whatever we put with I am, and I didn't realize that as a child when I would say, I am resilient, I am innocence, I am self preservation. But I am the master. And I think, and when I wrote down today and thinking and working out at the why, I realized that my mother's principles laid the foundation to help me to master what we're all here to do, to master our minds. Have I done that just yet? No. But I am so grateful and so thankful that I have these foundation, these principles that will allow me to do that. And when you begin to appreciate and when you begin to see the fullness, the bigger picture, the fullness of what something is in your life, you begin to really hone into it. You appreciate it. That's why gratitude brings so much blessing, because it allows you to see the bigger picture and what you truly have versus focusing on what you don't have. And in realizing that I can't stop people from talking, and I'm wasting my energy in thinking about what they're saying. And it became a time where I used to think that I used to wonder why, what these people are saying about me, because I've been through this. And then it got to a point, am I going to keep worrying about this? Because if you worry about that, then you say, well, what is this person saying? You can carry that through life. What is my employer saying? What are my employees saying? What is my husband saying? What are my children saying? You can drive yourself insane. And that is not control of the mind. That is actual chaos, mental chaos. And so every experience is an opportunity for us to reflect the truth in us, not to become bitter. And it's not even though I've used the term to become better, but to reveal the truth that we are greater than any experience. And we are here to master our minds and our hearts, to cultivate the spiritual seeds, nourish them, to embrace them, to nourish them, and to express good fruit, to express the truth, the all knowing, ever present, all powerful, to express the spirit that is within us, that created everything. And I know but I can't. The more you say I can't, the more that becomes a reality for you. But if you just start in one place, that as long as people have tongues, they will talk. I am not responsible for what people say. I will not be disturbed by what people say because I know who I am. And I've told you, I've shared this once before, that truth doesn't need to argue, that every cell in your body knows what happened. You don't need to prove it to anybody. You don't need to see I'm broken, I'm bitter, I'm angry, I'm frustration, I have anxiety, I'm panic attacks. Can't you see what you've done to me? But in actuality, what you're saying is that, can't you see what I'm doing to myself because of what you did? I'm allowing you to continue to hurt me. And that is the opposite of healing from the inside out. We have the spiritual blueprint, makeup, that helps us to heal from the inside out. We have love inside of us. We have compassion. We have forgiveness. And when we call on those principles, when we remind ourselves that we are more than our experience, we can truly, truly, truly heal from the inside out. So this is Timika Chambers with Create a Generational Love Cycle. I know I get to talking. I get excited. It's not about a script. It's about speaking to you from my heart to yours. It's about you understanding, us being the true essence of who we are. Not getting caught up in experiences, on the microcosms, the things that happen in life, but actually seeing the bigger picture of understanding who we are and understanding the power of principles, understanding the power of what I have inside of me, that I don't have to become anything than what I actually am. If you like this episode on Heal from the Inside Out, as long as people have tongues, they will talk, they will speak. Please share it with someone else. Any thoughts that you have about this episode, anything that you want to hear, maybe there's a clarification that you want, feel free to reach out to me. I usually will post this on several my media pages, Facebook, Medium, Substack, just getting the message out because I believe in the powerful nature of principles. They're not here to rule over you, but they're here to free you. Because then you realize you don't need to be attached to anything here. And for this episode, you don't need to be attached to what people say. You can actually free yourself from the opinions, the stereotypes, the words, the thoughts from others. And the less of it that we collect here on earth, the more our light, our inner light, shines. I'll talk to you soon.